All right, we're back. I haven't done one of these in a while. I've been doing a bunch of stuff, uh, mostly working on this playlist, uh, Mel's playlist. My friend Mel asked me to do a playlist. The interesting thing about these, usually the formula is that I will look at your likes and dislikes on your Facebook page, and I try to find songs within the catalogs of those artists that fit the memories I have of you, the times we hung out together, or just cool moments that I like or whatever that you've probably done or don't remember. This was a little different because Mel doesn't have any music likes. So the cool part about this is I got to pick. I decided to do songs on kind of a theme around Mel. So Mel likes to tell stories. Mel's big on holding court uh, at big get-togethers. So a lot of the songs are either big on metaphor, like No Myth, uh, or have a story to tell in one way or another. I'm going to talk about some of those stories a little bit and kind of how they work with this playlist. So there are songs like Testify and Redemption Day are kind of were easy songs to pick for Mel because Mel's a bit of an activist, and those songs are activism songs in different ways. I did not know that. Well, I found this out doing the research for it. So when I originally heard this song in '96, and it's on the same album that has Home on it, I believe. I always thought Redemption Day should have been a duet, and I always thought that it should have been a duet done by other artists. I always thought that you could have done any good female with a nice voice, but I always wanted a guy to come in on the off lyrics with this like deep voice and do it, which is what happens here. Don't get me wrong, this is what happens here. But there are a couple of facts about Redemption Day that I did not know until I looked it up. So I didn't know that Sheryl Crow originally wrote this song after she went to Kosovo with Secretary at the time First Lady Clinton. And I think that's where the Kosovo gunfire story comes from. But she wrote this song based on her travels in Kosovo with the secretary and what she saw over there. Well, on pretty much Johnny Cash's last album, Johnny Cash decided to cover this song, which I knew he was doing the last album when he did it. I did not hear about the songs that were on it till way after the fact, because I have been apprehensive about listening to Cash's last three albums because I knew they would be emotional and I knew they would be hard to listen to. And Redemption Day comes off as a lot of Johnny's older gospel work does. It has that kind of same tenor to it. And so when they cut it as a duet, which is, there's a live version of this song that might be different than the one I put on this list, that I think is a better version. There's even a super slow, almost dirge-like version of this song that I didn't like, but I like the concept of. So there's that. Testify, which is on Brave and Crazy, and I don't even think it's the best song on that album, as a matter of fact. I got introduced to that album because one of my favorite films is Where the Day Takes You, and that album is all over that soundtrack. But it's a very good protest song. It tells a story, and I really feel like it invokes what's happened over the last 6 months, people actually being out in the street. And on the flip side, the everyday person seeing what's happening in the streets and really having mixed emotions about it. So that's why I included that song. I included Eleanor Rigby because I think it's a really cool song, and I think it kind of works for this list. I'm a huge Indigo Girls fan, so I picked Land of Canaan at random, to be perfectly honest with you. But I think it kind of fits some of Mel's aesthetic. to then we get into a couple of songs that are, I guess, old man songs, or I guess songs kind of about history or about a certain vibe, like the good old days. And that's a big thing that I come back to. A lot of conversations that Mel and I have are about nostalgia and just about, oh, do you remember back when this thing happened? And so that's kind of what Cherry Bomb and We Didn't Start the Fire are kind of about. I often have wondered why, though it would be really hard now for Billy Joel to make that song longer, and I don't know that it ever really needs to be longer, but I think it's really cool that I would use it. If I were teaching a history class, that song would be like my introductory day. Like, I'm going to play this song, here's this handout, here are all these things that happened. You can look some of them up, but most of these will get covered. And it's always been my big disappointment as a history student that I've never been in a class that covered the 80s. And it's because, I guess it's one of those weird things where when you're old enough to have lived through a section of history, which I get, and the average history student or the average student in general never thinks that they're going to be old enough to be like, oh, I was around when that happened. You know, I remember watching on TV when Hinckley shot President Reagan. I remember that. You know, and I guess it's in history books, but you have to flip there for yourself to figure out they cover that. You know, or I remember the night that and when I think about it, it's just like, whoa, I can't remember that's 1980. Just seeing the all the candles the night that John Lennon, well, really probably the night after John Lennon was shot. Everybody used to kind of hang out in Strawberry Fields and all that, and that gets into a whole like Beatles rant. But you never think that you're going to be around for stuff until you're around for it, and you're like, whoa, I remember when it happened. So that's what those two songs are kind of about. Edie Brickell and New Bohemians, and that's probably, that's her first album is a very good album. And What I Am, I guess, is the hit off of it, and that's really kind of Mel's baseline mantra, like, you know, this is who I am, you don't like it, that sucks, you know. I included No Hard Feelings because Mel's father recently died, and it's kind of become the song. It's, I guess, it's kind of become a condolence song in a way. I think this song is on my funeral list that I did, I guess, last year. It's an amazing song. I did the lyric version of the video versus the official video only because I think it's seeing the lyrics is helps. Though the official video is super emotional in its own way. But I love that song, and I get choked up hearing it every time I hear it. So that's this playlist. It's a good playlist. I like it. It's filled with a few songs that people haven't heard in a while, which is always great. So if you are wanting me to do a playlist on you, don't hesitate to ask, because I will do it. I've got some other videos that I'm going to try to get to. I've got to actually listen to a couple of albums to do stuff for the other channel. I started listening to Stankonia. I have not finished it because other stuff came up, other side projects and whatnot, and I started back playing WoW, which is always a bad idea. As far as like, and WoW has become like a good mind cleanser, which is always great. So like, if you got a topic you want me to do, Mixtapes and Mistakes is a place where I do topic videos, where I do topic playlists. So I'm up for that. If you want me to do a playlist about you, always up for doing that. There's way more navel gazing that happens, which is why these particular playlists take so long. I like getting the topic and just going bam, 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 and try just not thinking about it. The thinking about it, gets you thinking about the past, and you go mopey, and it becomes a thing. But, so, this is Mel's playlist. Happy to have done it. We'll do more playlists in the future, and we'll catch you guys in the next installment here at Mixtapes and Mistakes. Later.